I've seen so many dating shows and read so many articles about finding love, but none of them ever seem to be aimed at people with disabilities. Then Love on the Spectrum appeared. Good, right? Well, while I hope the producers mean well, they often infantilize autistic people and completely miss what real autistic love actually looks like. They make it seem cute or quirky, but there's so much more depth, emotion, and authenticity to it than people realize. Dating and relationships can be confusing enough on their own, but when you add autism into the mix, along with how the media portrays us and how often abuse or misunderstanding can happen, it's no wonder many autistic people feel lost when it comes to love. But autistic people can find love, real love, deep, meaningful, lasting love. And I truly believe there's someone for everyone. You just need to understand yourself, communicate your needs, and learn what a healthy relationship really looks like. This video really is worth watching all the way through because we're going to be talking about everything from the struggles and the triumphs of autistic dating to the impact of media stereotypes to recognizing the signs of unhealthy or abusive relationships. By the end, you'll have real tools to set yourself up for success. Whether you're looking for love, already in a relationship, or just trying to understand yourself and others better. Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Michelle. I'm an autistic woman raising 3 autistic kids with my ADHD husband. Please make sure to hit like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell. It really does help the channel and our community grow. Dating can already be confusing, but when you're autistic, it can feel like you're trying to follow social rules that everyone else somehow just knows, but no one ever explained them to you. And there are a lot of stereotypes about autistic people and love, like we don't want relationships or we're not capable of deep emotion. And that's just not true. What can make dating hard are things like sensory overload on dates. Maybe the restaurant is too loud, the lighting is harsh, or there's just too much going on to stay present. And then there's the double empathy problem. That's when autistic and neurotypical people misunderstand each other because we communicate differently. It's not that one side lacks empathy, it's that we're speaking different social languages. I just so happen to have a whole video on the double empathy problem, so definitely go check it out after this. And honestly, a lot of traditional dating advice just doesn't work for autistic people. Things like hold eye contact, play hard to get, or don't overthink it. For many of us, that advice can feel confusing, exhausting, or even disingenuous. Masking can be such a huge part of dating for autistic people. Trying to act normal, and by normal I mean a neurotypical standard, to hide stimming, to force small talk, or to pretend you're not overwhelmed. But the problem is, masking takes so much energy and it stops you from forming real, authentic connections. For me, I found dating really hard. I struggled to connect emotionally, and honestly, I dated more for company than for true connection. My husband was the first person I could actually be myself around. He loved that I was different. I didn't know I was autistic until I was 41, but it was never an issue for him that I communicated differently. In fact, he helped me understand things that I found confusing, and he never made me feel bad for asking questions. And I do ask a lot. And I'm not saying we're perfect. We irritate each other like I think most couples would after 20 years of marriage. We have the same issues everyone else has, and we have the stress of raising kids. But we work through it. And most importantly, we love and respect each other, and we always communicate. If you're dating, try communicating your needs early on. Things like preferring quieter spaces, needing time to process, or not liking phone calls. It can feel awkward at first, but the right person will appreciate your honesty and clarity. We grew up surrounded by ideas about what love and relationships should look like, from movies, magazines, and social media. In glossy magazines or articles, we read about love and dating, and it's easy to wonder why we're doing it all so wrong. I often think about how these romantic ideals affect autistic people who want to find a partner. It must add so much confusion and self-doubt, especially if you don't know you're autistic yet. Those media images show us people who seem to instinctively know how to flirt what to say and how to behave. They read subtle body language perfectly and say all the right things at the right times. But for many autistic people, that doesn't come naturally. So we start to question ourselves. What's wrong with me? Why can't I connect like that? When in reality, there's nothing wrong with us at all. We just experience and express love differently. I've only ever watched 1 or 2 episodes of Love on the Spectrum. On one hand, I would like to believe the show tries to be wholesome and educate people. And I do think the intention is good, but on the other hand, it's also incredibly patronizing and infantilizing. For instance, when a participant shares their special interests, they play childish music like it's meant to be cute, instead of showing genuine depth or passion. And to me, it feels like Love on the Spectrum was made from a non-autistic perspective for a non-autistic audience. The show sets up these dates that are meant to suit people's interests, like their special interests, but they still force them into a neurotypical version of what a romantic date should look like. I also notice how people react to it. I really enjoy watching Gogglebox here in Australia, but whenever an episode of Love on the Spectrum comes on, everyone on the couch kind of claps and says things like, "Oh, how cute," whenever the participants are having a date or they go to kiss or they do something romantic. It's just really disheartening because it feels like autistic people are being treated as entertainment and not as real humans who want connection and partnership just like anyone else. And I'm sure they don't want to be seen as like cute and to be infantilized like that. It comes across as condescending, and I honestly don't think that this kind of show helps autistic people in matters of the heart. If anything, it reinforces stereotypes and makes it harder for us to be taken seriously in relationships. And also, this is just my opinion. So let's talk about the practical stuff. The things that can make dating feel a little less overwhelming. Set boundaries. Know your limits emotionally, socially, and sensory-wise, and communicate them before or during the date. Plan ahead. Pick venues that are sensory-friendly, maybe a quiet cafe, a walk in nature, or a cozy movie night at home. Use your special interests. They're a great way to connect and build genuine rapport. Talking about something you love not only helps you relax, but it can also attract the people who genuinely share or appreciate your passions. Some autistic people find it challenging to express their emotions verbally or through conventional social cues. This can sometimes be linked to alexithymia, a difficulty identifying or describing emotions, which is often associated with autism. I also have a video on that if you want to check that out too. For example, an autistic partner might be upset but can't always put into words what's wrong. The non-autistic partner might not know how to respond or might assume they're the cause of the upset when they're not. Misunderstandings like that can happen easily when communication styles don't match. I know for me, I often think people are taking a tone with me, and then I find out that they actually haven't. Difficulty interpreting tone of voice or facial expressions can make social situations confusing, even in a close relationship. A non-autistic partner might feel neglected if their autistic partner doesn't pick up on subtle hints that they're upset. Meanwhile, the autistic partner might over-explain or ask a lot of clarifying questions just to understand what's going on, which can sometimes come across as intense. I actually over-explain a lot. Autistic people often have deep passions and special interests they spend a lot of time with. That focus can sometimes cause friction if a partner feels they're being ignored or they're competing with that interest. But for many of us, it's not about choosing one over the other. It's just how we recharge and connect with the world. Routine and predictability are also a big one for autistic people. In a relationship, that can bring wonderful stability and loyalty. We tend to want long-term committed relationships, but it can also clash if the other person thrives on spontaneity. Sensory sensitivities can affect physical intimacy too. Some autistic people might find cuddling overwhelming, need more personal space, or pull away when overstimulated. The non-autistic partner might misread that as rejection, but it's not about love or attraction, it's sensory comfort. If you're neurotypical and your partner is autistic, you can show understanding by Realizing that their honesty isn't meant to be hurtful. Recognizing that love and empathy might look different, but they're still there. Communicating openly about plans or changes to avoid anxiety. Not expecting specific reactions to gifts or gestures. And understanding that after social events, your partner might need alone time to decompress. A healthy relationship should always include communication, mutual respect, and a balance of give and take. Encourage your partner to be themselves without judgment. It's common for autistic people to mask their traits, even with their partners. Masking is exhausting and can lead to burnout. The best thing you can do for each other is to create a safe space to just be. And it goes both ways. It's equally important for the non-autistic partner to communicate their own needs clearly and honestly. When my husband and I met, we didn't know we were neurodiverse. Looking back, I think that's one of the reasons we connected so strongly. We both felt comfortable just being ourselves. No pressure to perform or pretend. We gravitated toward each other naturally because of that sense of safety. Relationships are a two-way learning experience, and this is especially true in neurodiverse relationships. Understanding neurotypical communication styles can really help. Sometimes people mean things indirectly or expect you to read between the lines, and it's okay to ask for clarification. Hey, just checking, did you mean? That kind of open communication prevents so many misunderstandings. Now, this one is such an important topic, and I truly believe that knowledge is power. Unfortunately, autistic people face a high risk of abuse for many reasons, often tied to both cognitive differences and the way society misunderstands autism. Research shows that autistic individuals are significantly more likely to experience abuse than their neurotypical peers. A lack of education, both personal and professional, combined with communication and social differences, can leave many autistic people more vulnerable to mistreatment and exploitation. It's so important to know the signs. Sometimes relationships, whether new or long-term, can become unhealthy, and it's so important to take those signs seriously. So here are some of the things to look out for that might mean your relationship isn't healthy. One partner taking on most of the household or emotional load. Frequent arguments, insults, or put-downs. Financial abuse. Codependency, when one person becomes dependent for everything. Broken promises or dishonesty. Ignoring or dismissing your boundaries. Love bombing, being overwhelmed with affection, gifts, or attention early on as manipulation, especially if it comes right after the abuse. Isolation from friends or family. Humiliation or mockery. Gaslighting, making you doubt your memory or sanity. Being controlled or coerced into doing things that you just don't want to do. Narcissistic or self-centered behavior, constant criticism, especially of your intelligence or appearance. Feeling scared to speak up or set boundaries. It's important to remember that abuse isn't just physical, it can be emotional, psychological, financial, or even digital, and it's not always easy to recognize at first. Sometimes the signs are subtle, but the feeling is clear. You start losing your sense of self. If you find yourself constantly anxious, walking on eggshells, or changing who you are to keep the peace, something isn't right. Love should never make you feel small, unsafe, or unsure of your worth, but learning to recognize the signs and knowing your worth can make all of the difference. Neurodiverse relationships can be incredibly beautiful. They bring a different kind of depth, honesty, and creativity. When both people are willing to communicate, compromise, and learn from each other, the relationship can become such a powerful partnership. In long-term relationships, routines and clarity are your best friends. My husband and I use clear communication about plans, downtime, and expectations. And it's been a huge part of what keeps things balanced. And remember, there's so much support out there now, from autistic adult communities, online support groups, to relationship coaches who understand neurodiversity. Finding others who get it can make such a difference. So whether you're autistic and dating or you love someone who is, Know that meaningful, fulfilling love is absolutely possible. It might look a little different, and that's okay. Different doesn't mean less. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to check out my videos on alexithyma and the double empathy problem next. They tie in perfectly with this topic. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.